press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update from Sebastian Fitness Solutions. What is up everybody, this is Sebastian from Sebastian Fitness Solutions. And in today's video I'm going to be addressing one of the most common myths in the fitness world, and that is the spot reduction myth. Now I know you must be wondering, why are you covering this topic? Hasn't this topic been covered like a gazillion times already? Well, while that is true, and while you and I would expect that this myth would finally have been laid to rest, and by every time I start thinking that is the case, boom, I see something that proves me wrong and proves that this myth is still alive and well. Case in point, the other day I see this lady in my gym, and I see this lady quite often actually there, and all she does is cardio for the most part, but she does step into the gym unlike many ladies. However, she steps into the gym just for one machine. She uses only one machine on the gym floor, and that is the cable stack machine. Now you must be wondering, well, given how versatile the cable stack machine is, maybe she's doing all her workouts there, It's not the right thing to do, but maybe she's doing that. Well, nope, that's not the case. She uses that machine for 2 exercises, and that's it. Every time she finishes a cardio session, she walks up to that machine, she ties up whatever that attachment is to tie at the ankle and then the cable stack, and then she'll do this. She'll hold the cable stack and she'll do this. I was raising my leg to the side if you couldn't see. And then front and back, obviously. And that's it. That's all she'd do. Now, without trying to be someone who could read her mind, actually, if I were to guess why she's doing this, what is the thought process behind it, I can bet that the reason why she's doing it is because she thinks that doing these exercises will help her lose fat around the hips. And yes, she did have fat around the hips primarily, like most women do. Maybe she's doing it because she's doing these hip-centric exercises because she thinks it's going to make the fat around the area go. And as funny as it may be for you, or not really funny, but as obvious as it is for you and me that it's not the case, many people actually think this. All of us have seen that one dude in the gym who's constantly doing crunches all the time, and he's probably doing it because he thinks that doing crunches is going to help him lose stomach fat, which is not the case. So if you're that lady, and trust me, I see her all the time, and every time I wonder, I wish I could just go and tell her, I don't want to give unsolicited advice, but every time I see her, I wish I could just tell her that she's wasting her time. It's sad to see that someone's getting to the gym and they're putting the effort, but they're doing it in the wrong direction, and they're doing something thinking it's going to help, but it's not. So if you're that lady, I hope you're watching, or if anybody else who's done this and still do it, hopefully this video is going to make you think otherwise, and it's going to make you realize that this is actually a false premise. It does not work. Doing an exercise for one particular area, let's say the stomach, your abs or whatever, is not going to make you lose fat that is in that area. Fat that is adipose tissue and the muscles that you're training with an exercise in an area are completely different things. There is no such thing as stomach fat or chest fat or buttock fat or anything of that sort. All of it's called fat or adipose tissue. On the other hand, every certain area, the muscle in that area has a distinct name, a distinct origin and an insertion. Pectoralis major, gluteus maximus, rectus abdominis. All of these are different muscles, very clearly defined from start to end point, because they are distinct objects, things. But fat is systemic. The fat in your arm and the fat in your belly and the fat in your butt, everything is the same. For the body, it is just an excess store of calories. But I'm sure you've heard this 10,000 times probably by now. But I'm going to help you understand this idea even better with an example that I'm sure you'll relate to, or you'll understand better. Let's take, for example, a car that is parked in a garage, right? And the car is being covered by the cover that they put on top of a car, right? Now, the car that's underneath that cover could be the best possible car you can imagine. It could be a Ferrari, it could be an Aston Martin, it could perform like a beast, you could look like a piece of like art, like magnificent art. But if it's covered, and it's always going to be covered, and that too being covered by something that is like, it's a dirty looking cover with like crow shit on it, you know, it won't matter if it's got a Ferrari under there, if it has an Aston Martin under there, whatever, because all you would ever see is the cover. And the cover and the car are completely different things. It's not part of the car. How good the car is, how well the car performs, how much you work on the car has no bearing on the cover that's around it. You know, no matter how much, let's say you had a decent car, it's not the best car out there, but you put a lot of work into it. You customized it, you add some, you know, extra body parts to it, you've revved up the engine, you've really turned it into a beast, but you always keep it under that cover. It won't matter. Because all the work you put into, all that effort, the money, the time you spent on that car is on the car. The car looks great on the inside, underneath, but the cover doesn't change. The cover still hides everything you work for, and that is exactly what is happening when you train your body. You train a certain muscle, a certain area, you're training the muscle underneath, muscle and the fat that sits on top. But no matter how much you improve this muscle, and you would, if you were doing ab exercise, you would improve the six-pack muscle underneath. But if it's still got that ugly cover on top of it, there's no way you'll be able to see the results of your hard work. And the only way you'd be able to see it is if this fat was gone. But it won't if by doing these exercises. Because, you know, like customizing the car, if you work on the engine, you work on the body, the paint and everything, you're working on the car itself. You're not working on the cover. You know, you can't work the cover because the cover is just a cover, you just gotta take it off, you know, and that's what it is. So in this case, you know, hopefully this example, this idea of this simplistic example I can probably give you for the car and the cover analogy has given you an idea of how it works in the body itself, and as in that the fat is nothing but a layer on top, right? And that no matter how much exercise you do for a certain particular area, you are not going to affect the cover that's on top of it. So the question here is now, how do you do it then? How do you get to lose the fat, especially the fat that's in those troubled areas that you think? Well, the short and simple answer here is it comes down mostly to how you program your entire lifestyle, and more often than not, and more than anything else, has to deal with your diet. You need to be in a caloric deficit to lose fat, and your diet has to be calculated and done well with the ideal ratio of macronutrients for you to make sure that you lose maximum fat and minimum muscle. Your training program has to be holistic, has to be well balanced to ensure that you retain as much strength and muscle and healthy tissue as you lose weight, as you lose fat. And that's pretty much what it comes down to when you want to lose that fat. As for losing fat in certain specific areas, you cannot control that. No matter what you do and no matter what an expert out there will tell you, nobody can control exactly where to lose fat from in your body. And if anybody tells you otherwise, they are either lying to you or they're stupid. And they have no clue what they're talking about. Plain and simple. If you want to lose fat in your stubborn areas, you just got to stick to the diet and stick to losing fat, commit to it and stay true to it until the body is forced to lose fat in that area. Because that's how it works with all of us. We all have certain areas where you store fat first and lose fat last. That's just how it works. And I'll explain more about this in another video and how the mechanisms behind this work. I will talk about that in another video. But what you need to understand is this. All of us have stubborn fat areas, and for our bodies to lose fat there, we'll first need to lose wherever the body wants to lose fat other places. So let's say for a guy, you know, you want to lose fat in all your arms and your legs and everything, get lean, and in the end when the body has no other choice but to keep losing fat, then the only place you can take out that fat from is your stubborn area. So that's what you got to do. You got to stick to it, you got to stick to your diet, you got to stick to your lifestyle long enough that the body is forced to use fat in your stubborn areas, and that is the only way you will lose that fat. So I really hope that this video was informative and it has finally put this myth to rest in your mind. And if it has, don't forget to give this a thumbs up and share it with your friends and anybody else that you think still believes in this myth and could potentially be wasting their time over it. Hopefully this video will help them out too. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, click that red button right there, subscribe right now for more informative videos in the future. And as always, comment below, let me know what you think about this video. If you have any questions, I would love to answer them, so comment below with them and I will definitely get to them. And finally, follow my social media links, they're all in the description box. And that's all I have to say for today. So until next time, keep learning, keep growing. Hey, thank you for watching that video. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And finally, to watch another video, click right over here.